Novelas no gunge ci sama kër gi ba xet ji de duma toog duma tàyyi man daal de moo koy wëri parfum Novelas suñ ko bis ki kër gi xet gi day neex parfum Novelas mooy waaja lii mooy parfum Novelas parfum bi dafa neex forest bi dafa neex saxaaba bi dafa neex lii mooy parfum Novelas parfum bi dafa neex Almadina boo ko pompee xet gi day gunguni lii mooy parfum Novelas parfum bi dafa neex brise marine bi ak yëpp a neex ak Novelas féppay xeeñ neex
hadamadin ila nyantolum preji kendomi annun ji senawo adabe hadamadun la baluwole kon annun hadamadun ka fengo fen bindi akono kono ayanda ke ku senawol ay ke kuti mi yalla ko ata hadamadun mantora madingul one stop water solutions limited ibe janne gambia banko kan annun ye filtarole natal mi yalla ko isala jiol kende andi anu isa senen inatale pour ka ji kendo ji senawo natale gambia banko kan jio mi yalla ko atal mantora la annun jio diata baki one stop water solutions limited ye filtarole natal mi yalla ko alse munafa nola alla pompol isala jiol tenteng ya senendi coming alla fala nyame naketa pompoti bang abo holo fo nawek la pipe wala a filter sifa o sifa one stop solutions ya natale 10-inch filter set of 3 ya sotale filter mi yalon ko acidiota aya tenteng natara bankole ba kono fa kenyo wala kankan be bije sa be bon filter fana member ko 12-inch set of 3 filter mi yalon ko acidiota aya dada aya senendi mense beta alla jata kendato fana sotale CTO block carbon filter o fana mu filter mi yalon ko asi chemical o bonnino jiol kono le mense beta alla jata kendeya filter mum boko CTO block carbon men si jiola chemical be bondi akono pour ka alla jata kendeya sahen nim filter sabol be kili wo kili na pansun doku na wata tankol fanan sotali kabirim 500 5000 fokata 10000 liters plumbing fittings fanan be mol bulle alsemol tarano sukuta highway mariama kunda johnson wala isimol kumandi 505 5691 796 8272 one stop water limited solutions inatale ka jiko be sonende gambia banko.
Hello there, you're watching QTV this morning, and good morning. I am your host, Jennifer Sonko, joined here by my amazing co-host, Ibrahim Abalde. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, Jennifer. It's good to be back again. It's another Wednesday. Can I say Wednesday? Wednesday morning.
You're there not. QTV News editor is sitting right beside you.
What is the difference? Wednesday and Wednesday morning. Which one should I use? Is it British and American?
British. The D is silent.
Wednesday. And Wednesday. All right.
Anyway, this is not a grammar class.
It's good to be here.
This is not a grammar class.
It could be.
It could be,
they
right?
call me the VJ, so I am comfortable with my language anyway. So it's good to be back here, Jennifer.
It's good to have you here.
And it will be very interesting.
Yeah, looking at the headlines on the papers, our community watch, you know, social issues. Looking forward to a fruitful one. Thank you so much for joining us, Adedrami. It's always good to have you here.
Always good to hear. And when you said this is not a drama class, one of the things I was going to mention is the fact that all of our newspapers and all of our political parties seem to have adopted American spellings in their press releases.
Okay.
And so I didn't know that we were a former American colony, but obviously we are, because even the one that PDOI has put for Alifa Saleh, they call him honorable, and they spell it the American way.
Yeah.
I get seriously irritated about this. It's laziness, because when you click on your computer, the setting for Word documents is US English, and people don't bother to change it. And so center gets spelled the American way, honorable gets spelled the American way. I could list 100 others. It's irritating. Stop being lazy, just switch it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
That's fine. It's
so it is eventually turned into the grammar class that I was talking about. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us, viewers. It's always good to be back. Today we have the African proverb. We have the newspaper review. We already introduced our guest, Adedrami. He's here to help us analyze some of the stories that we have on the papers. And also Community Watch. We'll be taking a look at 28 medical doctors from Saudi Arabia, facilitated by the Fatoumata Barbaro Foundation. And on social issues, we'll be talking about parenting in the digital era. And just parenting in general, you know, that relationship between parents and their children. I think this topic is brought about by a recent African proverb that we dealt with in relation to what you put into a child is what the child becomes. So today, that is what we'll be looking at, just parenting in general and the relationship between kids and their parents. And on Sports World, we'll be joined by Mamadou Gajaga to take us through what is happening in the world of sports as well. And yes, One Stop Water Solution is part of our partners. Ibrahim,
exactly, yes.
For all their water filters.
Water filters, they are #1 in the Gambia.
Sure.
So go get it now.
Right
go get
there
your
at the
filters.
Sukuta
Clean
Highway.
water is very important for
Yes,
life. Water
yes.
is a source of life. So it's important, Jennifer.
Yes, and it is a fundamental human right to get it clean, you know. So just make sure you visit them. They're right there at the Sukuta Highway. Their numbers are right in front of your screen right now. Take it, contact them, and ask for some of the things that you want. And I talked about the fact that their customer service is as well top-notch, you know. Very brilliant individuals there that you can talk to, and they will help you get what you want.
Exactly. Although I've not visited yet, but I think I'll be visiting very soon.
Yeah, you have to. What is our African proverb?
Okay. Let's take a look at our African proverb. Wood already touched by fire is not hard to set alight. Well, Janaba, this proverb involves a lot. I mean, if you were to analyze this proverb...
But Mr. Ade, do you observe, whenever he talks about our proverbs, it involves a lot.
A lot, yeah, definitely.
So proverbs in general involve a lot.
You know, let me just take a sip before I continue.
Yeah.
It's very important.
Yeah.
Well, for me, this proverb, what it means to me, it's a formula. I mean, it's a way of setting something. Let's take a look at discipline. Once you discipline your children, when you have other kids, they will just follow that step. So it's not difficult for you to go to the settings again by training them, showing them how to live and certain things. If your first kids, for example, they are disciplined, when other kids come, they will follow. So that's how I'm gonna. Yes.
Do you agree with that interpretation?
I do, and to be honest, as with most of these, there are several interpretations.
Yeah.
In Sierra Leone, particularly those speaking Creole, they have a phrase which is "all firewood, no art for kitch." Usually, they mean in terms of relationships. They say, you know, you and your ex-girlfriend, if you meet up, you might rekindle, again, kindle playing on the fire theme, rekindle the relationship. And so it's similar to this, that the wood that has already been touched by the fire can you know, so yes, so I agree partly with it, but there
so
are many.
how about when the damage has been done, it's also hard to repair it, because already, you know, when the wood is already touched by fire, it's hard to set alight.
But you know, when they say touched by fire, not consumed by fire.
Not consumed.
Touched. So I think it's
touched, but then because
so
it's touched already, it's not wet.
Yes.
Obviously,
Yes.
you know, then it's easy to light it again.
This is true.
Yes. So I don't know. It takes my mind to sometimes when the damage has been done already, it might be hard to actually repair it.
That's
because
true.
it's already exposed to the
Yeah.
damage in this instant. So it'd be really hard to like amend it at the end of the day.
Yes.
So that is why sometimes when you're trying to make decisions, you know, you have to make decisions wisely. Because sometimes there are decisions that you take in 100 years, you can't take them back. You can't reverse it. There's nothing you can do. The damage has been done, and it's just going to happen.
Well, it's just like trust. When trust is broken, it's difficult. Is there any point you think when trust is broken, you can trust again, Mr. Ade?
You can, but it depends on the individual, because some people are forgiving, and they can forgive, and they can sort of give the person a chance to regain the trust that was once reposed in them. Other people are less forgiving. They have what they call an elephant's memory. They never forget. If somebody does them something bad or breaks their trust, they never forget. So it depends on the individual. Some people are more forgiving, and others are not.
I think I am forgiven, but I do not like forget.
Yes.
I do not like forget when people do things.
At some
but
point,
it's not like I do not forgive them.
Yes.
But it stays.
Yes, I used to have at the end of my email signature for about 5-6 years this phrase which says, forgive your enemies but never forget their names.
That's the thing.
And people used to always ask me what it meant, and I said, read it.
For me, I think I forgive easily, but at the end of the day, the thing just sticks.
I think it's normal to forgive, but not to forget. Sometimes people will tell you forgive and forget. You cannot forget. It's
the moment you forget, then that might lead you to something else, another encounter with that individual.
The reason why you are not forgetting is to be cautious, to be cautious, to be careful.
It's to be cautious.
So interesting, Jennifer. So what's up? What's going on? What are we going to do again?
So up next we will go for a short commercial break. And when we come back, already I'm seeing very interesting headlines there in relation to nominations and coalitions and all of that. So we will go for a short commercial break. And when we come back, we will head right on to that. Just stay tuned.
Favorite mobile service has done it again. Now you can buy cash power with your QMoney account free of charge. Yes, you heard me right. For free. Nothing is cheaper than free. So start buying your cash power from the comfort of your homes with unbeatable services QMoney has to offer. With QMoney, life is easy. Visit your nearest QMoney agent to cash in or call customer care on 133 for more information. Don't forget to wash your hands with soap after handling cash. Stay home, stay clean, stay safe. QMoney, Sunyu Kalpe. We innovate, others follow.
Welcome back from that short break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning, and I am your host, Jenna Bosonko, joined by my colleague, Ibrahim Abalde, as well as Adi Durami, who will be helping us today analyze some of the stories that we have on the papers. So that's the Standard?
And the headlines of the Standard newspaper reads, 5 parties to sign coalition agreement today. Dabanani account unblocked. APRC asks inter-party committee to mediate crisis. UDP case withdrawn from court, transferred to inter-party committee. Six ex-NI officers barred from court until Comium staff protest closer. So this is what we have here.
So Gambia risks losing company that could employ over 90,000 Gambians, and also IEC issues nomination forms, 25 presidential candidates hopeful for December polls. And also Halifa Sallah calls for protection of future generation against COVID-19, and life-changing opportunities, a tale of skills acquisition in the Gambia. And QNet representatives face charges of obtaining goods by false pretense. And will all those who took forms to stand as candidates actually go all the way? So that's all we have on For Air today. So yes, there's a lot that these newspapers today have in common. Indeed. First of all, let's start with the Inter-Party Committee, because it seems the Inter-Party Committee is trusted in a way, considering the fact that there are 2 stories there that has to do with the Inter-Party Committee. The first one has to do with a UDP case handed to the Inter-Party Committee, and then APRC is also asking the Inter-Party Committee to mediate the split at APRC. So do you think this can happen? And is it applicable in other countries where inter-party committees tend to mediate some of these things that are happening between parties independently?
I've never heard of it anywhere else, and I was quite surprised, particularly with the one regarding the case that was withdrawn from court and then referred to the inter-party committee. I didn't realize you could do that, but obviously you can. And so the inter-party committee are going to be very busy. And if one goes online and sees the APRC back and forth between members who are in one camp, no to coalition camp, and the other camp, it's already getting quite acrimonious. So I think they're going to have their work cut out in trying to mediate in that particular one. It's going to be quite difficult.
But do you think they can actually mediate this independently? Consider if the co-chair of the inter-party committee, Honorable Amal Nyasi, is part of the APRC, for instance.
Well,
so I don't know.
I think the way that they can is that it's not a dictatorship. the inter-party committee. It's not as if one person makes the decision and everybody has to follow.
Yes.
There are lots of intelligent people who are part of it, and they will have to come to some sort of consensus, some sort of agreement for whatever decision is made, and then it's up to the parties as to whether they want to be bound by those that decision. But the fact that they've agreed, both sides have agreed that it should go that way, then I guess that means that they're willing to be, because I guess that must be the question that will be asked of them. Are you willing to be bound by whatever decision the inter-party committee comes up with?
Let's take a look at the cause. What leads to all this saga, all this talking up and down. It's the call that former President Jammeh made in Kanilai to party militants. Do you think it is wise for us to allow Jammeh in Equatorial Guinea to be calling and interfering with the affairs of our country?
It's difficult to stop. People can say it's a free society. Again, I keep using the word, we're not living in a dictatorship where you can ban the internet or close down the internet or close down people sharing audios on WhatsApp. You can't do that, thankfully, because if you do it for one person, then you have to do it for someone else. So just because it's Jammeh doesn't mean that you should shut down that space. What people have to ask is that the people who are following somebody who is in exile, why are they doing that? Why do they think that that is the person they need to listen to when that person is not part of the political discourse anymore? He is in exile. You can't stop it.
Well, for the inter-party committee to handle this in a professional way, I think it will be very difficult, because I've heard some party militants saying they will vote for the person that Yahya Jammeh asked them to vote for. So it will be very difficult.
He will always have his supporters,
and
he's just as he had his enablers when he was in power. Some of those people have said, they will be with him till death, and so nobody's going to change their mind, not even sense or logic for many of them. I saw one article arguing that he seems to have forgotten that he ruled over a brutal regime and a brutal dictatorship and authoritarian regime. He definitely has forgotten that, and so have his supporters.
Yeah, I think the inter-party committee in the Gambia, they are taking huge space right now and trying to make a change in a way, because recently, that was like a few months ago, not recently, I had a conversation with Honorable Amonyase, and he talked about the fact that some of these UN agencies are even telling them that they can use Gambia as a case study with the work that the inter-party committee is currently doing. Look at a court case being withdrawn and taken to the inter-party committee. So it seems some of these activities with the inter-party committee is actually starting from the Gambia.
It could be true, because you go to Sierra Leone, the former ruling party, APC, All People's Congress, they are now in dispute. They've had a couple of court cases. They've had several, but the most recent one involves the fact that former President Koroma had been effectively made chairman for life of the party, even though he can't stand again in an election. And so it also gave him the power to choose party candidate rather than the Congress choosing. That has never happened in the life of the party, and so people have gone to court to try and that has caused a split in that party. So if they had something like the inter-party committee, as we have here in the Gambia, that might be one way that they might resolve it. But at the moment, a couple of seriously bitter court cases are ongoing in Sierra Leone over that very issue.
Okay.
Well, I think other issues are there. I mean, those issues should not get to court. I mean, we should have our own committees like this to settle it. Not only political issues, but also we have a lot of problems.
Yeah, I mean, there are many. I mean, again, that is more usual in other countries where certain disputes go to mediation rather than to litigation. And so it doesn't end up in court. It ends up with an independent body, but it's always an independent body. You mentioned Amonyase being part of, the inter-party committee, and then that might color his judgment, or that's how some people might perceive it. But in other cases, the mediating body is completely independent. You even have it in things like divorce cases, where they have mediation organizations that actually bring. There's one called Relate, as the name implies in the UK. It brings the warring parties in a divorce case to kind of try and settle things amicably rather than go to court and end up making lawyers very rich. And so yes, it can happen in different sectors, that sort of mediation.
Yeah, so moving on, IEC issues nomination forms. 25 presidential candidates hopeful for December polls. And on the editorial of Foria, they're asking a question here, saying, will all those who took forms to stand as candidates actually go all the way?
In fact, 26 took forms because we got the list of who's going to be presenting their nominations on which day. And in fact, there are not 25, but 26. And we've heard of political parties, as I think in one of the stories talks about them coming to some sort of coalition. They're now sort of they're bartering as to what that coalition will look like.
We can see
and
my
of course,
party there.
This is it, and it will always come down to this: if you form a coalition, who gets to be the flag bearer for that coalition? And the fact that a country as small as Gambia has 18 registered political parties already tells you that there are lots of people out there who think they should be the leader of a political party rather than joining another political party. So I'm afraid they might form a coalition, but I suspect it will end in tears.
That's your prediction?
And they can quote me in 6 months' time. Because all of these people want to be president, which is why they've formed these political parties. If not, they would have belonged to these other parties that they're now coming into coalition with. So what do they have in common other than the fact that they all want to compete against the incumbent? I suspect.
Mr. Ade, why is everybody running for this seat? I mean, is it to enrich themselves or to develop? Is it that this man cannot run this country? I should be the one to run this country. My people are suffering. Or is it I want to enrich myself?
I think most people, nobody who stands for president will tell you, I want to enrich myself. And most of them, if you dig deep down into their conscience, it's because they think they can make a difference to improve the lot of this country. And I've said this many times before, because the Gambia is small, lots of people say to them, and you hear it from people who end up going into political parties or joining political parties, they say, it's so small, anybody can fix it. Well, it's not true. It's a complex country, despite this. We have so many tribes, we have people with different interests. How do you resolve all those interests? So for many people, it's only when they get into position of power they realize how difficult it is. But many of them, I think most of them go in with noble intentions.
I can remember.
They just change over time.
Reality changes them.
I can remember an interview Aliou Cissé did with the president on State of Affairs. Barrow said, all that you see is the red carpet, the vehicle, people going up and down, but you don't know what is inside.
And that's true, because for some people that's what they see, the pomp and the ceremony, and they think that's what being a president is. But it's a tough job. If you are president, there are many things that will give you sleepless nights.
Do they sleep?
Well, I just took the word. I just said sleepless nights.
So moving on, let's talk about Comium staff protest closure, and that's on the Standard. And on Foria, we have Gambia risk losing company that could employ over 90,000 Gambians, which is the same thing. So in other countries, do governments intervene? When companies like, for instance, Comium or any other company might suffer a shutdown.
If you are a country in the European Union, it is actually illegal for a government to intervene, to prop up. It is called, state intervention. Is forbidden into the... however, having said that, I worked for 20 odd years in something called the Insolvency Service. It's about companies going into liquidation and people becoming bankrupt. And there were many, many instances where government tried to intervene or had to intervene
to save
jobs. There's a company called Carillion. It is the biggest ever collapse in British history in terms of a company collapse, the government had to intervene because over 20,000 people.
That's a lot.
Ended up losing their jobs.
Yeah.
I mean, they tried to save it, they could not, and they went against the European rules, which said there should not be government intervention. So a commercial company that sets itself up has to fight and survive in the market. That's as it should be. Government should not intervene, really.
Yeah, but I think governments probably might intervene on the basis of the employees.
And that is, in the instance I gave you, that was I was going to say the excuse. That was the reason the British government gave for intervening. If you think about 20,000 people
that's a lot.
being jobless at a stroke, then obviously government tries to intervene and save those jobs, and that's when governments try to intervene. But when times are good for that company, they don't ask government to intervene. They pay their taxes. If they're good.
For the case of Comium, I think Pura should come and at least clarify, because according to their marketing, is it the marketing director? He said they've settled their 2019, 2020 debts, but still they didn't give them the go-ahead to open business.
I think, we've said this again, it's the world we live in. People make claims and other people make counter-claims.
Exactly.
Not representing Pura, but Pura will say, if that was the case, we'll give them back their license. Yeah. But there must be a reason why we have not done so.
And also, let's remember that Pura, aside from the Jews, Pura also talked about some other issues that they have with Comium. Sure. It's not just with them paying for their license. It has to do with them actually upgrading their services, going up to 3G, 4G, and all of that.
I think it's a complex one.
Yes.
And because of that, it's difficult to comment. People would look at QTV and say, you're part of the QCell group, that's why you're saying this. But this is something that is in the public, it's on the news, it's in the newspapers, and people are commenting, and you can't pretend it's not there.
Yeah.
So one has to
Well, I think as Pura, they are the regulators. I mean, they should make sure good services are being given. So maybe it might be one of the reasons.
Let's just observe the situation and just see what will come out of it at the end of the day.
Indeed.
Yes. So moving on, QNet representatives face charges of obtaining goods by false pretense. I mean, I thought this issue of QNet is just a Gambian thing, but I came to realize they're all over Africa and scamming people with what we are seeing now.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Nobody's been convicted.
Allegedly, yes. Let me not forget.
Yes, don't forget that word.
Yes.
Because nobody's been convicted yet.
Yes, but I mean, I was there when a person from another country had to call someone I was with to ask them to snap a newspaper and send it to them where it had to do with QNet allegedly scamming people. That is how I realized that their activities is not just in the Gambia, but it's beyond.
As I said, it's a complex one. Difficult one to comment on, really, other than it's been going on for a while now. Yeah. There are investigations, as you said, not just in the Gambia, but in other countries. One only needs to go online, and you can read all sorts of negative comments about them. So it's going to be interesting to see how that one is resolved. But complex.
Yes.
Very complex.
So thank you so much, Adejami, for joining us on the Newspaper Review. It's always good to have you here. By the way, you're staying with us for the Community Watch.
I am indeed.
Yes, so our Community Watch today has to do with a group of 28 Saudi medical doctors arriving in the Gambia on a week-long free medical intervention through a joint partnership of the First Lady Fatoumata Barbaros Foundation, Al Bassam International Organization, and the King Salman Humanitarian Aid and Relief Center in Saudi Arabia. So let's take a look at the story by Ali Sise, and when we come back, we'll get to discuss it.
This team of medical experts is in the country to provide free healthcare and to share knowledge and experience with their Gambian counterparts. The team will be at the Edward Francis Sumo Teaching Hospital in Banjul, Serekunda General Hospital, and Farafenni General Hospital. Their visit is facilitated by the First Ladies Foundation through its partnership with the Al Balsam International Organization, health service provider, and the King Salman Humanitarian Aid and Relief Center in Saudi Arabia. During their visit in the Gambia, the health experts will provide free specialized services such as general pediatric surgery, pediatric neurosurgery, pediatric maxillofacial and plastic surgery, among others. On receiving the delegation at the Edward Francis Sumo Teaching Hospital in Banjul on Saturday, First Lady Fatoumata Barbaros expressed delight and hopes the visit will leave an everlasting impact on the country's health system. She renews her commitment through her foundation to advocate for more partnerships in the interest of the country.
You're here today to support your brothers and sisters in the Gambia. We are so pleased to have you with us. This is what I call family. When you are in need, you call on people to come and assist, and if they come, that's the best thing in humanity. And may Allah continue this relationship. May it continue from strength to strength. And you're welcome.
Abdul Kim Katan, the head of the medical team, is hopeful of a successful mission.
We are aiming to do something distinguished and something, that will stay, inshallah, for a time with our colleague, the healthcare worker in this hospital and the other hospitals in Gambia. We are proud to be here. We are happy to, work with our colleague from Gambia, and we are looking for fruitful 7-8 days of hard work.
Dr. John Jabang, head of surgical department at the Edward Francis Sumo Teaching Hospital in Banjul, described the arrival of the doctors as timely, while commending the First Lady's Foundation for prioritizing the health sector.
We are a developing country, and we have challenges, and I'm sure you know some of those challenges. But regardless of that, we will work together to make sure that this mission is achieved. And to my team, I will tell you they are all very ready and prepared. We have our residents who are here. We have also other consultants that will join us. The team is ready, and we hope to give this visit a very, very, very great time. So once again, welcome. Thank you so much, and Your Excellency and your team, thank you so much.
The team will be in the country until the 30th of this month.
Welcome back from that break. That was Aliou Cissé on 28 Saudi medical doctors arriving in the country in collaboration with the Al-Bassam International Organization as well as the King Salman Humanitarian Aid and Relief Center. Considering the Gambia's health sector, it's not all that. What do you think this means for us?
Actually wonderful. They've been invited by the First Lady's Foundation,
yeah.
And they're going around the country. That took place at Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital,
yeah.
But already I was contacted this morning by our guys in Soma and also in Farafenye, who said that they had already been there, and they were already giving. It's interesting because there's an article which somebody sent me which they were going to upload later today on a new Gambian news website. I don't want to advertise it because they haven't launched it yet.
Yeah.
But what was interesting about the article was that it said that 35 doctors had just newly qualified.
Yes.
And so you sit back and you think, oh, that's good. But what was even more fantastic about it was that of the 35 doctors who have just qualified, 23 are women.
That's good news.
It's the first time that they've had that huge number
of women
make up the percentage of qualified doctors in a single year in the Gambia.
Yeah.
And so it was, but what the article went on to say is that sometime in the future we hope that either we don't have to have interventions of this sort, or people who need medical treatment can get it because we have the number of doctors.
Yeah.
And there was a line in there which said that, and my father will forgive me for this because I agreed with them, it said you can have too many lawyers but you can never have too many doctors.
Yeah.
And so I'm one of these people. I welcome the Saudi doctors coming because mainly it's pediatric operations that they'll be doing, but also they'll be doing plastic surgery.
Yes, I saw.
And we don't have people here who can, and they're also hoping to teach some of our...
Yes, I wanted to ask that.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope it will not only stop at carrying out medical activities, but also teaching.
Yeah. To connect to that, the First Lady has also sent a few doctors to also specialize in fertility and other areas. I've seen that. There's a recent Zoom meeting they convened talking about this with the Mac Foundation.
That's right.
And I think to further connect to what you mentioned about us having 35 doctors, those are just general doctors.
Yeah.
I think our problem is having doctors who are specialized. Yeah. So I think that is where the problem lies.
And this is a big problem. I think you had a neuro
neurosurgeon.
Surgeon.
Dr.
on
John
here,
Jabang.
the only one.
Yes.
You know, in Sierra Leone, there is one guy who has been the only pathologist. So anybody dies and there's an autopsy, he's the only one who's been doing it for the last 25 years, Dr. Owis Koroma.
Wow.
If you think that's bad, in Liberia they did not even have one. So when a
sad.
government minister died in Liberia, they had to bring this guy from Sierra Leone. So there are certain areas of specialism that we should try and
Yes, I
guide
think
people
that's
towards.
that's very important because certain things can happen. There was a time I can remember they have to wait for a doctor who went on leave to come back to attend to them.
Very sad.
Yeah, so
and to tell you that Dr. Jabang was not actually even under scholarship. You know, his family had to like put money together to like pay for him, and he had to learn neurosurgeon in French.
Yeah, quite. And I think he mentioned Dr. Ulrich Jones when he was
sure,
in it. And
sure.
I know Dr. Ulrich
He's
Jones.
his mentor.
His mentor.
Dr. Jones is his mentor.
Unfortunately passed away.
Yes.
Sierra Leone. I met him when I was newly in the Gambia. Unfortunately, a few months after I arrived, he passed away, but highly regarded.
Yeah.
Dr. Jones.
And you know, he was elderly, and so
Yeah.
we need young people to get into these
well, you
fields
know,
and specialize.
I think it's important for us to have more medical practitioners because considering the fact that the president is building more hospitals, we need doctors in these hospitals.
We need doctors in the hospitals. We need conditions around the country, in the provinces, to be such that people will be willing to go and live there. I remember the people in Sintet, when they rebuilt at their own expense their local medical clinic. They built, this was a few years ago now, they built accommodation for the doctors and nurses that would be fit enough that they would say, oh yes, I'm willing to go from
That's the thing.
Greater Banjul to go and live there.
Yeah.
So those conditions also have to be in place.
Yeah. At the end of the day, these doctors and nurses are human beings, and at the end of the day, they deserve to be comfortable.
Yeah.
And to say, people, at the end of the day, Gambians generally are still even yet to have confidence in our health sector. Because we engaged Dr. Jabang the last time about do people have the confidence for him to like have certain operations on them, considering the fact that he's the only neurosurgeon. So he's talking about the fact that it's a process.
And it's a process, and that will change over time. And we're talking about these Saudi doctors, which is where we started, 28. And there's a skills transfer. They're not just coming here doing operations and going. So even when they go, they will still be linking with people. People can talk to them via Zoom and so on, and they can help and they can guide. So it's a process. It's not just, oh, we're here for till the 30th, we'll do some operations and then we'll leave. It's an ongoing thing, and that for me is why I like this particular initiative.
The fact that at least the other doctors will be also able to learn from that.
Well,
you know,
the country also should try to retain their doctors, Mr. Ade, because I've seen a whole lot of doctors, they were on government scholarship, and after they moved to Europe or America.
Listen, the reason I went is because you know, this is something where we even did a survey which mapped Sierra Leonean doctors that had been trained in Sierra Leone and then had been recruited in America and the United Kingdom, Germany, France. Every day you will see in certain newspapers and magazines adverts for doctors from these countries. And it's something that I've been very much against, because you know, you can't begrudge somebody going and improving their life in terms of the money they earn. But when you think about what they were offering them in England, and this is not a, it's not a typo, they were being offered 100 times what they were getting in Sierra Leone.
That's just the reality.
How can you stop somebody
You can't.
from getting that? You know, so, but what we did was, the reason we did the mapping, and that's what I would like to see in the Gambia, is that they formed something called TOSHPA, the Organization of Sierra Leonean Healthcare Professionals Abroad. Sorry, it's a bit long. But what they do is, every year, because they feel beholden to the country that trained them, at their own expense, they came back during their summer holidays and worked in the hospitals and in the clinics in Sierra Leone for free. They paid their own flight, they paid their own accommodation when they were in Sierra Leone, and they got agreement from the National Health Service in the UK that they could even take extra weeks so that they could work for 4, 5, 6 weeks.
That's a good one.
And then return to their jobs. And so Gambians who have trained here, have been recruited. As I said, we can't stop them because the amounts they're being offered are just...
And at the end of the day, it's beyond medical doctors. This is just human nature, that when you're offered a lot of money someplace else, you have to move.
Definitely.
Like, we want, like, everyone wants to develop.
Well, if you are offered big money, I mean, big time, you have to move, man.
But you know, I think what we should not forget is that we should commend those doctors who remain here.
Yes.
Because they are all subject to the same temptations.
Yes.
But some of them choose to say, no, this is my country, I will stay.
I will stay.
I could go somewhere else and earn more money, but I will stay.
Well, I think
and we have to
the last person I know who said to me, I'll stay, it's my country, he left. He's my friend. He also left.
He left, he was a doctor.
He's in the
well,
US
I know a few doctors who could have left as well, but they're still here. One is even my uncle. He believes in serving country so much, you know. Dr. Abdullah Bajan, you know, Dr. Marina as well.
We don't celebrate them
you know,
enough,
we need to celebrate them, you know. Dr. Marina came back all the way back. He was the head of surgery at the Edward Francis Moore Teaching Hospital.
Right.
He had to leave all the luxury there and come back to Gambia to serve. Dr. Jabang as well, you know, Dr. Silla, if all of you are watching, all of them are here. They studied outside and had to come back.
Dr. Ja.
Yeah, Dr. Jad, our neurologist.
You know how much he could earn
out a lot of money. A lot of money.
Yeah. But they came back. And, and really we should commend
But
them.
also that doesn't mean that also, you know, the government shouldn't double up as to making our doctors and just making generally certain professions that are like the workforce is quite limited. They need to be comfortable in a way.
It's limited, but it's important.
It
but
is
again, I
important.
keep mentioning this. We are not an oil-rich country. We're not a mineral-rich country. Government has to, and that's why, you know, in the other topic, I know this is not the newspaper review, but we were talking about people wanting to become president. It's only when you become president, then you realize what you have to juggle. Do I give the doctors more and somebody else less? And if so, are these people going to complain? You know,
what will happen to the security?
You know, exactly. So you have to balance all these things. And of course, in Africa, one always has to be mindful of you know, look what's happening in Sudan. You know, people that had a coup d'etat just a couple of days ago.
Oh, finally it happened.
It happened.
It did.
It happened. And so, you know, there are competing priorities. And if I was a voter, those are the sort of questions I would ask somebody who wants to be the president.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, we're not saying it has to be a lot, but at least something balanced where you can take your kids to a decent school, where you can pay your bills, have a small car, have a little house. You know, that's all we're asking for.
And also, one of the reasons why people leave is because there are no resources. And recently, we've just seen the president distributing ambulances to places that have never had an ambulance. So, you know, that's quite something.
And what you just mentioned is very significant because you know why? Some of these doctors who are Gambians, who studied outside and come back to the Gambia, they have the know-how but can't even practice. At the end of the day, this is a practicing field. The moment you don't, then you get to lose your skills as well.
Yeah. And you know, when you think about resources, there's a couple of cases that are trending in Sierra Leone right now. Where because the main hospital did not have a constant electricity supply, people died on the operating table.
That's it.
That's disgraceful.
It's very sad.
Should not happen.
Anyway, I think we've gone beyond time already. Thank you so much, Adedrami, for joining us on both the newspaper review as well as the community watch. So thumbs up to the Fatimata Barbaro Foundation for the work that they're doing.
That's right.
You know,
and to the Saudi doctors.
And to the Saudi doctors as well, and all the other Saudi agencies that are collaborating with the Fatimata Barbaro Foundation. So moving on, we will just go for a short commercial break, and when we come back, we'll be looking at parenting, you know, and we'll be joined by a psychologist, Professor Dr. Sidibe. He'll be here to talk to us about the relationship between children and their parents. How can parents ensure that their children are comfortable, live their lives without any form of bullying, without being affected by the, you know, digital era, new digital era that we're in as technology is evolving every single day and our children are at risk. So we'll go for a short break, and when we come back, we'll get to discuss that.
Novelas ni magunge ci sama kër gi ba xet ji de duma toog duma tàyyi man daal de moo koy wëri parfum novelas suñ ko bis ki kër gi xet gi day neex parfum novelas mooy waaja Gambia lii mooy parfum Novella parfum bi dafa neex forest bi dafa neex Sahara bi dafa neex lii mooy parfum Novella parfum bi dafa neex Almadina boo ko pompee xet gi day gunguni lii mooy parfum Novella baxuur bi dafa neex brise marine bi ak yëpp a neex ak Novellas féppay xeeñ neex.
Light. From the beginning of time, light has been there.
It is integral to our survival and to our way of living.
We need light to work,
To build,
to grow things, and even to see our loved ones.
light makes things easier and better.
So QCell has changed the way you buy Q-Power to make it easier and more accessible.
You can now access the same service quickly and get your Cash Power tokens instantly with the new QCell Q-Power code.
To light up your world, simply dial *363#.
With a touch of your fingers,
With ease and convenience from the comfort of your home or office,
you can bring light into your world instantly with *363#.
Q-Power, lighting your world.
QCell Sunyabus.
We innovate, others follow. To make sure your company's products and services reach your potential customers, it is essential that you choose the right channel for your marketing purposes. QTV has the widest reach locally and beyond, and we can give your business the visibility it needs. Call QTV Marketing on +220 324 4444 or email us at marketing@qtv.gm and take your business to the world.
With so many things to do in a single day, it's important to have a network you can trust. When there's family and friends to connect with and business calls to make, you need a network that is reliable and fast. Talk longer, browse faster, go farther, and roam wider. When your network is solid, the world is your oyster. QCell, your trusted network in the Gambia.
Looking for the fastest and easiest way to receive money transfers from abroad? Well, QMoney and RIA just made it happen. Now you can receive international money transfer from RIA directly into your QMoney account with no additional cost. Once you receive an SMS alert about your transfer, walk into any QMoney agent across the country to receive your payment for free or use the money immediately to buy credit, QPower, and other QMoney services. It's fast, safe, and convenient. For more info, call customer care on 133. QMoney, Sunu Kalpe. Terms and conditions apply.
So welcome back from that break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning. I'm here with my colleague Ibrahim Abalde.
Yes.
And yeah, we will be talking about parenting in general. You know, I know it's parenting in digital era, but it goes beyond that. So we will take a look at this this story done by Ajibintu Drame, specifically focusing on parenting in the digital era and how just parents are able to manage with it. We're joined by Professor Sidibe, psychologist. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks.
So we will take a look at this, and when we come back, the conversation starts. Do stay tuned.
Social media can facilitate social interaction and empower people. The voiceless are given a voice, increasing civic participation in the social discourse. And we have all become hooked on them, especially the smartphone. The Gambia has a higher rate of smartphones per person than the European Union. In the Gambia, data shows 1.4 smartphones per person compared to the EU's 1.2 per person. In 2020, there were 3.24 million smartphones in the Gambia. However, many parents around the world have been concerned about the impact of digital media on the lives of their children. Malanding Balo, the principal of Ndaus Comprehensive Junior School, explains the impact of digital media on children, most especially students.
As staff in the school, we are a little bit constrained because most of the times what the parents will tell us is that they want the children to come with the telephones and mobile phones in particular, so that when they are at work, they will be able to contact the children anytime they wish. But notwithstanding, we also ensure that in as much as we allow them to bring them to school to be able to get in touch with their parents, they are not supposed to be misused or abused in the classroom. How do they abuse them in the classroom? They can abuse them in several ways. One, they have set of games that they always play with their mobile phones. They watch movies, you know, and some of them even go to the extent of watching pornographic films in the class. And that is the highest degree of abusing the gadgets. We don't take that lightly.
More than 40% of Instagram users are 22 years old and younger. According to internal Facebook documents obtained by the Wall Street Journal, the research finds that teens blame Instagram for increases in the rate of anxiety and depression, from body perfection and lifestyle, which could send teens towards eating disorders and depression to the extent of driving teens to thoughts of suicide, the report found. Mr. Mbalo sheds more light on some of these problems.
Usually if you are found, you know, with a phone watching pornographic film, that attracts a suspension. So if the parents are not monitoring and checking, then obviously effects could be disastrous, not only on the child, but even on the parents.
Fabian Aina Grant Sanyang is a principal researcher at the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education and a senior nursing officer at the Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital. She says that digital media have reduced the amount of quality time parents spend with their children.
So we have to teach and educate our young ones, and education is in two ways. You have the communication, verbal communication and non-verbal communication. We always have to communicate with them, the children not to go beyond their limits. They are minors, they have to just concentrate in their education. I know that using these gadgets, as I mentioned, it is good. It's a multitask. It's engaged young ones to learn beyond what their parents don't teach them. But at the same time, for the health consequences as well, it can have an impact in the life of the child.
She further added that MOPSI launched an eye-lining project a few months ago to ensure minors are being monitored. Ami Senghor, a mother whose 7-year-old daughter is an active TikTok blogger, explains how she monitors her daughter. Since she was little, she has loved acting, dancing and modeling. At first, I was not in support of it, but my sisters will shoot videos of her and even to put her on their status, which I disagreed with it because she is little. Later, I was convinced by my sisters to let her continue with it, because it might be her future career or dream.
I review
the videos before they post them. I don't want her to be doing videos that I don't like. I am very keen on what she wears before shooting videos, because we have a culture here. I don't want her to influence other kids into doing acts which people won't like. What she is doing is not distracting her from schooling. She is really trying in her education, and I will support her in achieving her dreams. Umi Eska, Ami's daughter and active TikTok user with lots of followers and comments from well-wishers, says she aspires to be a famous actress. She further shares her thoughts.
I
choose to do TikTok because I want people to like me. I also want to make people laugh, and it will help me in my future career. Even though this is the career path Umi wants to follow in future, some have stated that she could concentrate on her schooling instead. In as much as it has become a regular feature in our lives, parents must work out how best to guide their children's use of this ubiquitous double-edged sword. Ajibintu Drame.
Welcome back from that story by Ajibintu Drame. Yes, so there are two things, Professor, that I took from this clip. Let's discuss the clip first before we go on to general things. There are two things that I got. That is a principal or a head teacher at Ndaos Comprehensive saying that if a student is found watching pornography, the outcome is suspension. That's one thing that I took. And another thing I took is the girl on TikTok saying that she's doing TikTok for people to like her. So probably to be popular as well. So does that mean that is the only way that she can do that? She's not doing it for fun, maybe. I'm not sure about that. So these are the two areas that I want you to talk on. First, do you think it's fair that the punishment, if a student is watching pornography, should be suspension or counseling?
I think counseling plays a very major part, actually. You asked a direct question, but before I answer your question, I would like to make the statement that, you know, the digital era, otherwise called information era, is a critical phenomenon. It has positive sides and negative sides. So it is up to parents and school authorities, teachers, to really help to guide the children, because where a child is misguided, that's where the problem comes. Now, to answer your question specifically, I am a trained teacher, qualified teacher, so I wouldn't penalize or punish the child for doing what the child may not be very conscious of in terms of consequences. I would rather blame the parents more, maybe, and even the teachers themselves. What the child, what it requires, first of all, counsel the child, guide the child as to the consequences or the implications of such an act, how it affects the education, because usually these children are so glued with these things that it distracts them from their work, like to practice mathematics or even to interact with another child as a human being, reduces considerably. We all have this problem, but it's a question of being very vigilant as a parent, and of course to have some little knowledge, because some parents are not knowledgeable very much about digital things. So they don't, the children are so fast, and digital era is very fast and deep. So you find that how many parents will say, come and fix my mobile for me, come and do this for me. So to answer your question specifically, because I know the time is always limited, I would rather, I'm not saying that the child should not be corrected somehow so that the child realizes that what I have done is wrong, what we call positive reinforcement or negative reinforcement, so that you don't repeat that bad behavior. But I think counseling is a fundamental aspect of the cure or the treatment, definitely.
Prof, let's take a look at digital gadgets. We have them now. Everybody is using them, just the children, and they have access to certain sites. Just have an internet and you connect. It is very difficult. I know counseling can work at some point, but what can we do to be able to control maybe the sites they visit?
I think, first of all, you have to have knowledge about the site to be able to control it.
Yes, that's the point.
But I mean, the school's IT department, the teachers, the parents, or bigger or broader, senior siblings, can help to control, because the monitoring aspect, somebody mentioned it, I think you mentioned it. Monitoring, controlling, censoring what children watch and what they do on these apps or digital facilities. It's of fundamental importance. Because this child, I mean, I don't want to put the cart before the horse. But I just use it as an example, and you can come back to it, the one we just saw. I don't think that child is conscious of the consequences of her desire to become liked or popular. There are many consequences can be involved in
Definitely.
that. So the child needs guidance, the child needs education, the child needs counseling, the child needs protection, actually. Actually, the first role of a parent, you mentioned parenting, a parent is expected to support, protect, and promote your child physically, emotionally, intellectually, socially. And you should be a good role model. And this is from infancy to adulthood. Unfortunately, let me also include myself.
We are
Quite
guilty.
a number of them are very negligent, really. We do not have, they mentioned it, enough time to talk to children. We do not have enough time to guide them, to explain to them. We do not have enough to observe children. Like, if my child tells me I'm going to Fajara Hotel for picnic, I don't tell her anything, or him. I just wait until maybe 5, take a stroll and say, oh, I was just passing by to see how you are doing.
To check on you.
So you see, if he's doing something that is undesirable, then I will know. We should be very active. Child upbringing is not just talk or buying nice cars, giving $200 in lunch, or good dress, or good
It
car.
goes beyond that.
No, it is simply the qualitative time you spend with the child, observing the child, interacting with the child, guiding the child. Where the child goes astray, you try to help to bring, because the peer pressure will be there, and it's very powerful.
It will be there.
But I always tell some of the clients that come to me with substance abuse problems is, you all live in this environment, and the marijuana is there, the cocaine. Why? How come you do it, and he doesn't do it? Then I did some research with my students, and we found out that the parenting at home plays a very crucial role.
Yes.
So definitely, to answer your question, parenting is key.
Yeah, so it means what the parents does at home then gets to reflect
because
on the life of the
I've even
child.
observed one thing. Our children of today, generally speaking, they have more leisure time than real work time. When I mean work, meaning studies, a little bit of domestic chores, which is necessary, gardening. They spend, and some parents don't see their children for 2 days. Let's say if you have 2 wives.
You don't have the time.
That is serious. So these children are by themselves.
They are free.
They are free. They have a lot of free time, leisure time. And this leisure time is often not used positively.
Yes.
So these are some of the fundamental problems.
Apart from just the leisure time, just having conversations with your parents, you know, can serve as therapy when it comes to how children are bullied in schools and all of that. They can use that to explain to them.
They have a lot to say.
So one thing that I also saw in that video had to do with the girl trying to, you know, get that sense of belonging. That's what I saw, because she said she's doing TikTok because she wants to be famous, she wants to be liked.
By people.
Although we see that the mom is putting in so much effort to also try to control things here and there, but her sisters are saying the girl should be allowed to do
The mother
this.
is on the right foot.
Yeah.
But the sisters do not understand. Let me say it that way. What is what we call it, my daughter, that's what we call in psychology, exhibitionism. Exhibiting herself at this early age. I think that's a bit dangerous. She should be more focused on.
Prof, can you say that again?
Exhibitionism, exhibit. Like you know.
I'm a fan of big
like
words.
he exhibits himself to once or take my wife, you know.
Okay,
That's for another day. Anyway,
another story.
Ibrahim, let me just make sure Prof answers this one about that sense of belonging. I'm not saying the child should not do TikTok, because we've seen other individuals in other countries at a very young age start certain things and it works for them. But the part that caught my attention was the part of her saying she wants to specifically purposely be liked, be famous, and all of. Do you think that part?
That part is a bit delicate. I wouldn't encourage it very much for her to have that mindset to say that I want to do. I'm doing it because I like it. I have passion for it. And to entertain people. That's a very good thing. So encourage her to have those, but don't say I will like, because if you are too popular, that may also be counterproductive.
Okay.
So and to start it at this age with that notion, I think that could be that may not be very wise.
Okay.
But of course, as we said, the child may be talented in a certain skill or something, and you want to encourage, maybe one day she becomes professional in that. But everything that they do, even football, whatever, should be controlled, monitored, censored, and the child should be guided. Guidance.
Guidance is very important.
Guidance.
Okay, let's take a look at what we call maybe relationships. Today, mobile phones have become a very big problem when it comes to our society.
Absolutely.
Everybody is busy. You can see
what the statistics is saying, Gambia has how many mobiles? More than
more mobile phones than people.
Incredible.
You can see.
And yet, in proportion to...
Well, I think for you to chat as a family, you sit together, say your ideas, maybe have 1 or 2 things together. It's very important. But now it's not happening anymore. You can see a whole family sitting, starting from the father, the mother, the younger ones, with their phones. They don't talk anymore.
Can I comment on that?
Yes,
you can.
My friends, this is a very critical or crucial problem we are facing. I have seen it myself, you are right. I've been to homes where I say, Assalamu alaikum. And the father is saying, the mother, the child is like, and I have to wait for 5 minutes before they send their messages.
Yeah.
They are there sitting, they don't interact. People may be in the same house the whole night, they don't talk. They talk to the mother.
Yeah.
And there is no way, from a psychological perspective, that these technical things like technology can replace the human element, the human need to talk. Somebody mentioned verbally and non-verbally. To communicate, to interact. You mentioned earlier that parents should find time to sit with their children and listen to them. You see, we are not very good listeners, generally speaking.
Yeah.
Listen to child. The child has a lot to say. I'll be very frank. When the Ghanaian man, the producer, called me yesterday,
Gabriel.
Asking me if I could come. It was a bit late, but I'm a colleague. I said, of course. I'm a teacher, I'm ever ready. Then I called my child, who is 17. I said, well, we are invited, we, the family. See how I said it?
Yes.
Tomorrow to go and discuss something about you people. My role as a parent, your role as a child, and how this digital era, information era affects us. Then he jumped and said, oh, Dad, it has two sides, positive and negative. I said, help me please with some of the positive sides.
Negative.
Then he said, learning, problem solving. It helps me with problem solving, and so on. He gave example, communication with you. When I'm far away, he says, those are the positive sides. And to have information on physics, chemistry. I said the negative sides. He said, it distracts me. I have to control, I become addicted to it. I'm obsessed. He uses some of my psychology words. I become obsessed, obsessive compulsive behavior. I say, so you are catching some of my words. I have to say you are not going to pilot.
So
you see, so it affects the human interaction. And a lot of things are oppressed, not known, until maybe they call you at the police station at Kairaba to say your child is involved in pushing marijuana.
Yeah, so Prof, to connect to that, sometimes we have children who are very aggressive. They don't listen to their parents, you know, for some reason. Their parents can't guide them. Their parents can't discipline them for some reason. What is the problem in that instance?
The problem is case by case.
It is, right?
It's case by case, and it depends on where the child should be brought to from, as you mentioned, I remember I mentioned from infancy too. If you do not start interacting with your child and guiding the child from early age, you know what I mean? When the child grows out of you, if I may say it that way, it's difficult. Like they say often in our traditional saying that a tree, if you want to straighten a tree, when the tree is small, you can straighten, but when the tree is too big, you can't.
You cannot, yes.
So it's the again parenting approach.
Yes.
Again the agreement sometimes between the mother and the father. Because quite often what I have observed in my clinic is that some parents, they battle, they use the child as a scapegoat to vent out their frustrations and conflicts. So the mother says this.
So confusion comes in.
It's called paradoxical upbringing. Paradoxical.
Yes.
Upbringing.
All right, I'll load that.
One thing is good, you say it's bad. So the child is confused. So sometimes the child becomes defiant or will revolt against the mother or the father.
That's
and we are seeing this on a daily basis.
Parents should agree on whether you are married or not married.
Co-parent, you know.
Co-parent. You should really have a positive disposition towards the upbringing of your child. You should discuss, even if you are not married. Let's say you are divorced.
Yes.
You should still have a responsibility. Forget about your personal. That's your problem. Go to your life and let him. But my friend, the child should be the best interest of the child priority. So that's the problem. So children today, quite a number of them, I see them who revolt. And sometimes it's due to frustration somehow. Frustration, aggression hypothesis. When a person is frustrated, he can become aggressive. Find out why the child is. Like we did a course some time ago with some primary school teachers here, whereby we found out that quite a number of the children were labeled rude, insolent, when they had mental psychological problems at home, no breakfast, father fighting. So find out, identify what the cause, the root cause, or the
problem.
Problem. Then you try to treat the problem, maybe appropriately, not with punishment or suspension.
Yes, suspension. That is why that actually caught my attention. But thank you so much, Professor, for coming. You just talked about the fact that Gabriel called you just last night, and here you are. You already talked about it. It was late, but you are a colleague. You are part of us. So thank you so much for leaving everything and joining us on this program to have a conversation about parenting. But I'm 100% sure that we will have to bring you here again because parenting has to do with a lot of things. We just touched.
I need longer. Don't scratch my mouth.
Yes,
we
just
and it's very relevant.
It's very, very relevant. We just touched the surface.
It's a problem, my brain.
Yes.
Give you feedback.
Yes.
It's a serious problem in our society.
Sure.
Because I have a clinic and I'm at the university dealing with medical students, psychiatric students. It's a serious problem.
Yeah. And it needs urgent attention.
And it needs some of them to substance, it's serious, huh? You don't have time, but it's serious.
It is serious. So, Ibrahima, take note. You already have a family now. So, take that. Make sure you pen everything down and behave in accordance.
Definitely.
All right.
Otherwise, I'll deal with it.
You will deal with it. Yes. Thank you so much, Professor, for coming.
You're welcome.
So we will go for a short break. And when we come back, we'll be joined by Mamadou Gajaga, and he will take us through what is happening in the world of sports. Do stay tuned.
Check out the all-new Tigo 8 at S-Pass Motors. Call 3522-222 or 353-2222 for more information. Cherry.
Right time, right place, right price. Promote your product, business, and brand to millions of viewers nationwide or across the globe. Call QTV Marketing on 32-44444 or email us at marketing@qtv.gm for all your advertisement needs. QTV Gambia, right place.
Now, with Aji Bank, you can make your vehicle number plate payments without any hassle. Walk into any of our bank branches or agencies located at Banjul, New Joswang, Karaba Avenue, Bakote, Tranquil Brusubi, Brikama, Basse, Farafenye, Numuyel or Garawal. Your number plate payments now made easy with Aji Bank. For more information, please call us on 422-8405 or 377-5811. Aji Bank, your investment partner. Q Money, the biggest mobile money service in the Gambia, has taken mobile banking to the next level. Now, you can link your Q Money wallet with your bank account. Yes, link your Ajib or EcoBank accounts with your Q Money wallet and get instant access to your cash anytime. No need to queue at the bank anymore. Transfer funds from your bank account to your wallet or your wallet to your bank account using Q Money Bank Link is the fastest, most secure, and convenient way to transfer funds between your wallet and bank account. For more information, call our customer care on 133. Q Money, Sunyu Kalpe. Terms and conditions apply.
Break. If you're just tuning in, we're still here, QTV this morning, and we're joined by...
It's time for sports.
Time for some sports, and we're joined by the energetic
Mamadou Gajaga. Inside of the game, full of energy. We're going to talk about women's football in the Gambia because the Gambia women's national team footballers are rejoicing after knocking out their near neighbors, Sierra Leone, out of the Africa Cup of Nations women's competition qualifiers at the Independence Stadium. First, let's see the match report, how the match transcends, and also we'll be looking at some of the people who spoke after the match. 2-0 in the first leg, which had to be played in Monrovia, Liberia. The female Scorpions were determined not to be complacent as they knew they would have a tough game on their hands. In that game, second-half goals from Ola Buaro and Rugi Juve has settled the context and given Gambia a good lead to defend in the second leg. The Gambians carried where they left in the first leg. As Fatou Kante found the net in the 23rd minute. The Sierra Leoneans now had a mountain to climb and seemed to give themselves hope when captain Zainab Macaulay scored in the 54th minute. Tried as they might, could not get back on aggregate terms. Hope was extinguished for the visitors when they had a player sent off in the 83rd minute. This seemed to knock all the spirit out of the Sierra Leonean team, and Gambia held on to progress. They already know their opponents in the next round will be Cameroon, who eliminated the Central African Republic 3-0 on aggregate. In another game on the same day, Burkina Faso eliminated Benin 5-2 on aggregate after winning 3-1 away on Monday, having won the home leg 2-1. They now await the winners of the face-off between their near neighbors Guinea-Bissau and Mauritania. The next round of qualifiers to see who makes it to Morocco for the finals will take place in July 2022. The next round of qualifiers to see who makes it to Morocco for the finals will take place in July 2022. So that's the match report there. The match ended 1-1. After the first leg, the Gambia One-Day League was not played in Sierra Leone, but instead it was played in Liberia because the Sierra Leone football pitch, the Siaka Stevens Stadium, is undergoing some suspension because the pitch is not good enough. So, and this particular match at Independence Stadium, like I said, 1-0. One of the goal scorers is Fatoumata Kante for the Gambia. In her debut, she scored, and also the other goal for the Sierra Leone team was scored by Zainab. First, let's hear from the Gambia coach, Mariama Sow.
First half and the second half, there is a bit different because we displayed during the first half than the second half. We expect more in the second half than the first half, but things went in the other way around. But with the help of the Almighty Allah, we are able to at least have 1 point today. No, definitely, I was never expecting a draw. I was expecting a win. After playing Sierra Leone in Liberia, I told my girls when we go back to Gambia, if God with the help of the technicians, maybe Sierra Leone may go home with 4 goals. So what went wrong? But it was unfortunate. It's football. You always, man propose, God decide. So this is football and its nature. Sometimes you prepare, but things may go in order.
And that's Mariama Sow, the coach of the Gambia women's national team. Now let's hear from the captain, Pendaba, after the game. She was delighted about the performance of the team and also spoke about one of her teammates.
This is an improvement for the entire team. Having an overseas player joining Gambia as a team is very important because they might have more experience than us and their league standards are more better than us here. So I think bringing Fatoumata will give a lot of impacts, a positive impacts that will help the team. And seeing her performance really helped the team. Fatoumata joined us just for a few days and she ended up being greater than any other one playing for more than years. So it means Fatoumata coming to the team is a great achievement. So we like, to see more of Fatoumata coming. We need to work very hard. Working hard can give us a results we never expect. A team who is well prepared than you have better chance to win than you. So I think this will be very important. From today, we shouldn't relax. I am urging the entire federation that we are pleasing them. Let's continue working hard. How are we going to do that? Let's go back and give us that opportunity of training times. Nothing should be late as we always have. I think things are coming late. This is why at times we struggle hard. If you see at times our first half can be better than second half and second half can be better than first half. I think sometimes lack of fitness or maybe a lack of understanding, and this we need to build between us. So working hard can give us any positive results with Cameroon, inshallah.
That's Pendaba, the Gambia national women's team captain. And finally, let's hear from Sierra Leone's captain as well, Zainab Macaulay.
As for me, I'm very, very happy for today because our people back don't expect us this kind of way we play today. For the others, go back and motivate the others and play more. I'm very, very happy for these results today. And that's to tell us to continue to play more and to keep fit. The loss home motivates us to play more. We have plenty lapses that we need to correct it, but I believe when we go back, our executive members will keep fit or continues to keep training.
And I must say, Zainab Macaulay is a fantastic player. The Gambians really find it very difficult to deal with her. Very skillful, her ball control is immaculate, and she's the one who scored the equalizing goal against the Gambia at the Independence Stadium.
Wow, amazing. Yes, just yesterday I was having a conversation with the permanent secretaries of the Ministry of Youth and Sports, and they're telling me that they're ready to increase their support when it comes to women's football because they see the efforts that these women are doing.
And Jennifer, just to add on to that, after this stage, there is a final round of qualifier. And in that final round of qualifier, it's the Gambia that will be playing against Cameroon. Ooh. Cameroon are one of the best in African women's football. They've been in the Women's World Cup, did fantastically well. They have also some of the best players, and we have to face them. But we have to knock them out.
Football is unpredictable, you guys, right? Isn't it?
Even though it is unpredictable, but sometimes also, when you play against a better opponent,
things that you have to figure out.
I know, right? I'm just saying. But Mamadou Gadiaga, do you have any information in relation to the AFCON fundraising that is currently ongoing? I know the president has already donated $1 million that he promised. So how far with that? Any information?
Well, a committee has been established. They call it the National Coordinating Committee on the Road to AFCON, Cameroon 2021. But yes, after the committee's establishment, they were meant to raise funds up to around $120 million. Yes. They're going about it, but it's not been much well publicized, even though there was a press conference first, so that everyone can know that there's this fundraising drive. They said they would even go to schools so people can chip in, companies and all of that. But not much has been heard of that. Since then. Okay. So it's very difficult.
So moving on.
And finally, yes, deaf football. Yesterday, the Gambia deaf national team won by 4-2 against Liberia. Fantastic game at the Independence Stadium. I was in there, but my colleague Babu Karsi was there. And from the pictures, you would realize that these are very, very happy players after they got those 4 goals. They scored all 4. And unfortunately, in the second half, Liberia were able to pull 2 back. And matches would continue at the Independence Stadium in these West Africa ECOWAS deaf football competition. So it's been interesting, and we wish the Gambian team the best of luck.
Yes, so thank you so much, Mamadou Gadiaga. I think it's a good thing that people with disability are also given the opportunity to show what they can do.
Very
this
important.
is the first time I'm seeing something like this, so it's really good.
I was surprised.
As always, the saying goes, disability is not inability.
Strength beyond all odds.
They have a very strong team, and I think with a little push, they will also be there.
Yes. So we will go for a short break, and then when we come back, the program continues. So thank you so much, Mamadou Gadiaga, for joining us.
It's a pleasure always to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
The best product in town is back. QCell's MiFi router. Get the best MiFi in the country for just $2,800 and connect up to 15 users with 4G internet speeds and a long-lasting battery life. So rush now to any of our customer care locations and get the best for less while stocks last. For more info, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Senior Boss, the Gambia's quality network. We innovate, others follow.
Q Money, the biggest mobile money service in the Gambia, has taken mobile banking to the next level. Now you can link your Q Money wallet with your bank account. Yes, link your Ajib or EcoBank accounts with your Q Money wallet and get instant access to your cash anytime. No need to queue at the bank anymore. Transfer funds from your bank account to your wallet or your wallet to your bank account using Q Money Bank Link is the fastest, most secure and convenient way to transfer funds between your wallet and bank account. For more information, call our customer care on 133. Q Money, Sunyu Kalpe. Terms and conditions apply.
With so many things to do in a single day, it's important to have a network you can trust. When there's family and friends to connect with and business calls to make, you need a network that is reliable and fast. Talk longer, browse faster, go farther, and roam wider. When your network is solid, the world is your oyster. QCell, your trusted network in the Gambia.
Welcome back from that short break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning, and I'm here with my colleague Ibrahima Balde.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. That was Momodu Gajaga taking us through what is happening in the world of sports. And now we'll be joined by Aliou Cisse. He's right there at the laying of the foundation stone for the OIC roads construction. I know this is something that we've all been waiting for. The last time we had Fali Fadera here, and he took us through some of the plans that they have to make sure that even if this construction is happening, the economy will flow. You know, the diversions will be there, and also he assured us of quality roads when these roads are constructed. So my colleague Aliou Cisse is right there at the event. Thank you so much for joining us, Aliou Cisse. So what's going on so far? I can see that some of the dignitaries have already taken their seats.
Thank you very much, Jainaba and Bande. Well, we're here at Brufut, where any moment from now, the President of the Republic, His Excellency President Adama Barrow, will arrive here to lay the foundation stone for the construction of the 50-kilometer OIC urban road project. Like you have rightly mentioned, I mean, this has been something that people have been waiting for quite a while now. And then today, this the laying of the foundation stone will mark the official commencement of work on these very crucial roads as far as the urban area is concerned. I mean, certainly this is something which is part of the OIC projects. As you know, the Gambia is preparing to host the second largest World Leaders Summit in the country next year, and it is quite very important that these roads are constructed. And like you said, roads have always been an issue in this country, and certainly these roads will help in turn to decongest the traffic as far as the country is concerned. So it is quite very important, and like I said, most dignitaries are already seated awaiting the arrival of the President for this all-important event here at Brufut.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Aliou Cisse there. So it seems that some of the dignitaries there have already started taking their seats right there at the laying of the foundation stone. So have you engaged anyone there as to what their perception is, considering the fact that we've been waiting for this for a very long time? Have you had an interaction with any of the visitors or participants there?
Well, I haven't engaged anyone here, but what is certain and clear is that this is something that every Gambian have welcomed, because like you said, I mean, the poor road network in the country is something that people have complained about, and certainly this project will certainly help in addressing that. But like you already know, immediately after this morning program, we'll bring you a live coverage of whatever is going to happen here. So certainly you can follow everything that's going to happen here on QTV.
Yes, so that is my colleague Aliou Cisse there. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'm afraid we might have to let you go now, and you will continue right there at the laying of the foundations for the OIC roads there. Thank you so much for joining us. So Ibrahima, I'm afraid that is all we have time for, but as we do it every time we're closing this program, the December 4th elections is around the corner.
Exactly. And
it is important that we preach good. It is important that we preach that we have peaceful elections. It is important. And shortly, before I leave here, I'll be joined by my colleague, Ansumana Sonyasi. He'll be right here to continue this particular session with Aliou Ceesay.
Yes. And just a reminder,
yeah.
Tomorrow there'll be no this morning.
Sure,
yes. And next week.
Yes, there will be no this morning, tomorrow, and next week. And what is happening?
Yes.
It's going to be nominations for the 26 presidential candidates
yes.
there.
And
we are not sure if these 25 presidential candidates will get what they want. We're not sure about that.
We'll see what will happen because right now there are many things that are going on. People are saying a lot.
Yes.
But let's leave it to the authorities and see what will happen.
What will happen at the end of the day. So no this morning tomorrow, no this morning next week. But that doesn't mean that in the morning you will not see interesting programs as we'll be bringing you live some of the activities that are happening right there at IEC when it comes to the nominations. And at 11:45, immediately when we leave here, you will get to see the program right there with Aliou Ceesay in relation to the launching or the laying of the foundation stones for the OIC roads. I'm sure you should be glued to your seats because this is something that a lot of us have been waiting for.
It's very important and it's happening. The foundation stone, just stay tuned and you will see everything.
And Fali Fadera has assured us that the quality will be there.
Yeah, which is key.
Which is key at the end of the day. And proper diversions as well will be put in place the moment that the construction
I'll call on
starts.
everybody to hold on to this because at the end of the time we are the ones who are going to benefit from it. The OIC conference will happen and at the end of the time these people will leave. When
and then
leave,
we will get to benefit
we'll be the one to benefit from this. So
why you man yo dinala namade? Thursday. Next week je. Yo li dina garaw, yo li dina metti.
Te dañoo nama suñ viewers.
Waaye bu boobaa nag week coming next su ñoo ñëw ak beneen theme.
Xam nga janax day bari pax.
Janax day bari pax ñu duggee si beneen pax rek continuer.
Bye-bye.
One Stop Water Solution, One Stop Water Solution is part of our partners for all your water filters, for all of your tanks and dispensers. Please head right onto Sukuta Highway and get to Window Shop or Shop. So that's all we have for you. Bye for now.
ndox mu set te ndox mu set dafa bokk ci dunni doomu aadama te biir kat amul seetu waral na lépp lu fay dugg dafa war a doon li nga xamante ne ni lu indil doomu aadama bi loraange ci wàllu wérugu yaram One Stop Water Solution Limited ñu ngi fii ci biir réew taxaw temm fexe pour gis ne doomu aadama bu ne di nga naan ndox moo xamante ne ni ndox mu sell te wóor la ndax indil nañ leen ay xeetu filtres yi nga xamante ne ni mun ngeen koy jëfandikoo ci seeni pompe yi ci biir réew moo xam booxool ngay jëfandikoo wala pompe nawek yi ne bépp xeetu filtre bi nga xamante ne ni dina la indil wér gu yaram musal la ci loraange amal nañ leen ko ci biir réew am nañ 10-inch filter set of 3 bii nag ñett lay àndal bu ci ne ak li muy liggéey bokk na ci 5 micron pp sediment filter bii nag mooy segg ndox mi ba mu set génne fa lépp li nga xamante ne ni warta ànd ak ndox moomu bala nga koy jëfandikoo gat granule carbon filter bii nag mooy segg génne lépp lu xeetoog chemical ak organique yi nga xamante ne ñoom ñoo nekk ci biir ndox mi sellal ndox mi ba waral mu soppi li nga xamante ne moom la ndox mi di saf mu soppi cafin gi def ko ndox mu sell te óor CTO block carbon filter bii nag du yem rek ci segg ndox mi sellal ko ba mu sell waaye nag daf koy yokk ay ngéneel yi nga xamante ne ni day baax ci wér gu yaramu doomu aadama bi dëgëral waaye tamit yàggal lool sa yuur wi am nañ tamit 12-inch filter set of 3 boobu it liggéey bu nu mel lay def ñetti filter yépp benn bu nekk ak lu muy liggéey am nañ 10-inch post carbon 10-inch coconut carbon 75 GPD PO1 membrane bi amal nañ leen bépp xeetu water tank tàmbalee ko ci 500 litres 5000 ba ci 1000 litres ak plumbing fittings kon nag mbokk yi bu ngeen buggee naan ndex yu sell te wóor seeti leen One Stop Water Solution Limited suñu makkaan bu mag baa nga foofa ca Sukuta Highway Mariama Kunda Johnson wala nga call ñu ci 505 5691 796 8272 One Stop Water Solution Limited ndox mu set mooy yàggal dund ni doomu
novelas ni ma gunge ci sama kër gi ba xet ji dee duma toog duma tàyyi man daal de moo koy wëri parfum novelas suñ ko bis ki kër gi xet gi day neex parfum novelas mooy waaja lii mooy parfum novelas parfum bi dafa neex forest bi dafa neex Sahara bari dafa neex lii mooy parfum Novella parfum bi dafa neex Almadina boo ko bombee xet gi day gunguni lii mooy parfum Novella Bakhour bi dafa neex Brise Marine bi ak yëpp a neex
ak Novelas féppay xeeñ neex